Hello and welcome to the Fort Collins Earth Day celebration. My name is Tanja Woitasczyk and I am so grateful to Kelly and the Sustainable Living Association for including me in this event. I am very passionate about regenerative practices and about whole systems design. So today I want to introduce you to whole systems design and whole systems thinking so that hopefully I can spark a little passion in you about this topic as well. Whole systems approach allows you to really fully understand what impacts any of your actions have on all the systems included. And that empowers you to make decisions that lead to a healthier and more regenerative lifestyle. We are currently in an ecological crisis where biodiversity loss and desertification and climate change are big challenges that we as a human race are facing. We have been seeing more extreme weather events, and like right here in Fort Collins, we've just had the biggest fires the state has ever seen, right? And so these kinds of events are going to keep getting worse if we don't do anything about it. And what we have got to stop doing is putting a band-aid on some solutions, like trying to fix something over here, and then maybe that reaction to that problem has unintended consequences over there. So we've got to stop that, and we've got to take a step back and take a look at the whole system before we make any changes and before we implement new systems. What we're currently doing is not working, and we can change that. What we need to come to is a whole systems approach with everything that we do, so that we allow nature the time to regenerate the resources that we're taking before we take any more. And it kind of does sound a little bit like a common sense announcement and like it's a very simple thing, but currently we're not doing that. There is such thing as an Earth Overshoot Day. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but Earth Overshoot Day is the date where humanity's demand on ecological and resources and services is much higher than what the Earth can regenerate in that entire year. Last year, in 2020, that day was on August 22nd. Now that's pretty early on in the year. That means after August 22nd, we are using resources from the earth that are not able to be replenished. And we've got to stop that. We've got to find a way of doing processes differently to stop that from happening. Now, in order to stop that and change course, we need to first identify exactly what the issues are and know how our current systems work so that we can come at it from a different angle and change our thinking and change our behavior. As I said earlier, my aim today is to get you to look at any of the systems in your life, or even just a product that you're purchasing or anything in your life, and see how the whole systems approach applies to your life. I would love to use an example to talk to you about what I mean. The example that I want to use today to demonstrate the difference between a whole systems design and between what we're doing right now is the simple process of making a cup of tea. An industrial cup of tea requires a number of things, right? It does require the tea, first of all. So with the tea, we have an agricultural process. So we've got the agricultural industry that we're starting with. We've got agrochemical industry. We've got chemical products that are being applied to the tea. Likely the tea is not grown in this country. The majority of the tea that we are consuming right here in the US comes from other countries. So in that other country, we've got the agricultural sector, we've got the chemical products involved. We also need to get the tea over to the US. That means we're now using the transportation sector, trucks, ships, maybe planes, however the product is being transported, which now means we need to fuel the vehicles in which the product is being transported. So we also have the fossil fuel industry involved, right, and oil involved in that. What is the next step? We need to cut down some trees to be able to produce a package of tea right here, something like that, right? So we do have to have the tea in some sort of a container, and very often this is what they come in, and trees need to be cut down in order to get that product. Then we've got more chemicals involved in that process. So again, different industries involved in that. In order to actually make our cup of tea, we now need water. Let's just assume, make it super simple, we're using tap water. So the tap water, though, has been going through an industrial treatment process. It's got things added and things taken out. And so this is a whole process until the water comes into our kitchen. Next, we need some sort of power to generate the heat that we need to boil the water. Most likely, that will come from a non-renewable resource in our kitchens. So that might be gas, it might be nuclear, oil, coal, just to name a few of the non-renewable resources. So we've got those impacts. And then finally, we get to have our cup of tea. So all these different industries that are involved in just making one tiny cup of tea. Well, actually, this one's not so tiny, it's a little more like a bucket, but you get what I'm saying. This process also has outputs. The outputs from the cup of tea are the tea bag, the container that the tea came in. Often there's a little plastic wrapper around it as well. Not always, but sometimes the tea containers have that around it as well. All of that ends up in another plastic bag that ends up in the landfill and just piles up there with many other things. So there is waste product from the tea that we are drinking. That's not the only waste product. There's also the human waste, right? Urine, and that will go into toilets. So we now have water that we need to flush that, and it is going back into the industrial systems. The byproducts from all of that are greenhouse gases, vehicle emissions, we've got air pollution, all these different things, deforestation, likely monocultures if the plantations are only planting tea, right? So we've got monocultures that are now depleting soils, and the soil is now no longer able to hold water, but that's a whole other story. That's a whole other speech, and let's put a pin in that one before going way off into that tangent. But so you can see there's a lot involved into just making a cup of tea. There is another way, right? If we look at this from a whole systems approach, we would be using permaculture to make a cup of tea. Now, what does that look like? Well, that is a lot simpler. With permaculture, what we would do is we would grow the tea plants in our garden. So we've got our little tea growing there. We need water, right, to water the tea, and we also need water later on to consume our tea. So what we would be doing is using or implementing a rainwater catchment system. Now, rainwater can be used to come into your kitchen. It can be filtered and used in your kitchen, and that can be an in-house process. And it can also then be used in your garden to water the plant. So you've got your tea, you get the tea leaves, you've got the rainwater to boil your tea. We still need the energy, though, the power to boil the water. That can come, for example, from a windmill. There are other renewable resources that can come from, like we could have solar panels on the roof, but let's just assume we have a windmill. And with that windmill, we are generating the power to boil the water to have a cup of tea. And there we go. It's a fairly small and simple process. The outputs from this process are also less significant than from the industrial cup of tea. The outputs in this case would be the tea leaves. Now the tea leaves very simply go back into the compost, and compost is being reused in the garden to fertilize our soil. So there is no waste, right? In permaculture approach, nature does not create waste. So that's a much simpler process to get our cup of tea. And the human waste, urine, would also be used in a closed loop system, right? Where it goes back into the garden as well and can be reused, recycled in that way. So a lot less outputs, a lot less industries involved in making that cup of tea happen. What we really need to think about and plan for is the long-term benefit of all participants. That means everything in nature and all humans, because we are all connected, and everything on this planet is connected. So this is not a case where what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? It's just not like that. When we talk about ecological processes, things are connected, and what does happen over here, or the choice I'm making over here, does have an impact on something else over there. So we do really need to think through the process in a whole picture kind of way. Indigenous groups have this concept of thinking about the impact of their next action on the next 7 generations. Now, I think that is an amazing concept, and I love that, because really, if we all actually took a moment to think about that, to think about how is the next thing I'm about to do going to impact 7 generations down the road, I think we would pretty dramatically alter our behavior just by doing this alone. Because if you think about, if you have children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren even, you do want them to lead a healthy life, and the way we are currently going, their lives are likely going to be a little bit inconvenienced going forward if we do not change what we are currently doing. So I think it's a very important thing to think about. Now, to wrap up, as I said, whole systems design is very important. I think is the key thing for us to change our ways, to be able to have a regenerative future, to be able for everyone on the planet to have enough at all times. Because it is absolutely doable. We can absolutely live within social and planetary boundaries and have a comfortable life. My invitation to you today is that you pick one thing that you are going to consume this weekend or purchase this weekend, and take a look at that one thing and just see how this one thing could be accomplished by using a whole systems design. So I don't know, that could be something as little as like buying something to eat, or what have you, anything really. Or you can look at an area in your life. Maybe it is how you get your electricity, and how can you do that in a whole system design. I think it's a pretty eye-opening and very interesting sort of practice to see and connect with the actions we're taking on a daily basis, and really truly understand what the impact is in a bigger picture scenario. So I hope you have fun with this exercise. I hope it will spark a little bit of passion to think in whole systems ways. I wish you a happy Earth Day.